Now, when we look at the internal parts of the heart, there are different parts that make up the heart. When you look at this heart, the heart, because it is pumping blood to all parts of the body and it is also receiving blood from all parts of the body, what happens is that the heart is going to be receiving deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood at the same time. That is why we are saying the heart is going to be divided into two parts. Now, when you look at this heart from this particular point of view, you can be able to see the bigger blood vessel here that is coming from the heart, and it is indicated with a red ink. That is what we call the aorta. So arising from the main aorta, which is the major blood vessel that leaves the heart, is what we call the left subclavian artery. That is the left common carotid artery, which is going towards the brain. Then there is the brachiocephalic trunk, that is also an immediate branching from the aorta, which is the major blood vessel arising from the heart. Then you can be able to see what is going to be bringing blood to the right atrium or the right auricle of the heart is what we call the vena cava. And these vena cava are of two types. That is what we call the superior vena cava, that is going to be bringing blood from the upper part of the body. And of course, there is going to be what we call the inferior vena cava, that is going to be bringing blood from the lower parts of the body into the right atrium. And what type of blood do they bring to the heart? The superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava are going to be bringing the oxygenated blood to the right atrium so that it can be taken to the lungs to be oxygenated. So that is what we call the superior vena cava. The other blue major artery, apart from the vena cava, is what we call the pulmonary trunk, or what we call the pulmonary artery. Now this pulmonary artery, after the superior and the inferior vena cavas have brought in blood to the right atrium, which is the deoxygenated blood, the pulmonary arteries are going to be picking the deoxygenated blood to the lungs to be oxygenated. That is why we are talking about right pulmonary arteries and the left pulmonary arteries, which are taking the blood to the right lung and the left lung to be oxygenated. That is why when you look at this particular internal structure of the heart, we are using different colors to show that the red one is oxygenated blood, the blue one is deoxygenated blood. Now, when you look at the lower part of the heart, from my diagram, you can be able to see there is an indication of the red part, that is the left ventricle. There is an indication of the blue part on the lower part of the heart, that is the right ventricle. Then there is what we call the inferior vena cava that was working in conjunction with the superior vena cava, and this one brings in deoxygenated blood from the lower parts of the body. What do we mean by the lower parts of the body? The parts of the body which are beneath the heart, which is the lower part of the abdomen, and not the lower part of the abdomen, but I mean the abdomen together with the lower organs, which are the liver, the kidney. That is the function of the inferior, we call it the inferior vena cava. Then, apart from that, you can be able to see that there is a wall that is separating the heart into two parts. And this is what we call intraventricular septum. The intraventricular septum separates the heart into two, the right part of the heart and the left part of the heart. And it is also the intraventricular septum that prevents the deoxygenated blood from mixing with oxygenated blood. The intraventricular septum. When you look at these left ventricles and the right ventricles, how is a student able to differentiate between a left ventricle and a right ventricle in an exam situation? When the heart is drawn, your right hand side is always indicating the left part of the heart when it is drawn. Your left hand side will always be indicating the right part of the heart. So that is why I'm easily able to identify this particular ventricle as a left ventricle and this one as a right ventricle.